In this video lesson, I'm going to show you two great ways to capture infrared images with your Nikon SLR. Infrared light is not normally visible to the human eye, but in some circumstances it's possible to capture it with your camera, and the results can be truly stunning. It gives an eerie or post-nuclear appearance to an outdoor scene. The effect works very well on a bright sunny day in the summer when there's plenty of young photosynthesizing leaves on the trees, like here. Most digital cameras have an infrared blocker, which is great for regular photography, but obviously not for infrared shooting. An infrared conversion can be expensive, costing up to £300, and of course means you'll have to have a permanently dedicated infrared camera. I had my old D70 converted. This is fine if you're really into infrared, but if you just want to experiment, it's an expensive option. But there's no need to panic, there is a cheaper alternative. Specialist filters, such as this Hoya Infrared R72, can work a treat as well. These screw into the front of the lens and cost from about £35 to £80. A filter blocks out most of the visible light, only allowing the infrared light to pass through. You'll get pretty good results, but you will need to adapt the way you shoot as the filter is very dark and dense. Here's a few tips that'll help you get great results when using a filter. Firstly, the exposures are likely to be very long due to the density of the filter, so a sturdy tripod is essential. As is the case with all long exposure photography, it's also a good idea to lock the mirror in the up position and use a cable release or your DSLR's self-timer to minimize camera movement. It's very difficult to see through the lens, so you'll have to compose and focus your scene before attaching the filter. If you're using a converted camera, exposure times will be relatively normal, so you'll be able to shoot handheld if you want. You'll also be able to see clearly through the viewfinder, so composing and focusing is much easier. Whether you're using a filter or a converted camera, it's best to shoot on a bright sunny day so that the blue skies can be captured as sumptuous dark tones, and photosynthesizing foliage will be recorded in white, almost snow-like hues. In both cases, the exposure is likely to be skewed a little, and it's difficult to make an accurate assessment from the LCD screen, as apart from anything else, the unprocessed images will look bright red. So use the histogram and bracket your shots so you've got several different exposures to choose from. Switch your focus and exposure modes to manual and choose an aperture of about f8. It's sensible to shoot in RAW as well. Straight out of the camera, your infrared images will look bright red and will need to be processed in the digital darkroom. This can be anything from making a simple black and white conversion to swapping the red and blue channels for a striking and surreal color infrared. Let's head back to my computer and see how this is done. So here I am in the digital darkroom in Photoshop CS6, although any version of Photoshop will work fine. So the first thing I need to do is just go to my layers panel, down to the bottom of the layers panel, and create a new adjustment layer for black and white. Click that, you can see that our image now goes black and white. It's a little bit flat though, and what we need to do is boost the contrast. Now typically we could do that using these color sliders here. So if we wanted to make the sky darker, for example, we would target the blues and crank it all the way down and our sky would go darker. But you'll see that nothing's happened then. That's because our original file is all red and infrared. So we're going to leave that and we're going to adjust our tones using another adjustment layer, and this time for the curves. So let's just click that. And let's just add an S-curve. You can see if I pull the top part of the curve up, our highlights are becoming a little lighter, and let's just pull this all the way down at the bottom there. We're getting those nice rich dark tones in the sky. And then you can see we've got a lovely rich contrasty infrared image with light hues in the foliage and rich dark tones in the skies, characteristic of infrared film. You could also add a diffuse glow or even a bit of noise to also further accentuate that infrared effect. Okay, for the next method I'm going to show you how to make a color infrared. So let's go back to our start image, and this time we are going to go over to Image, Adjustments, and we're going to go to the Channel Mixer. Now what we're going to do is swap the red and the blue channels here. So you can see in the red channel we have a value of 100%, so let's just zero that. You can see the image changing behind. And in the blue slider, we're going to add 100%. So we've effectively swapped that channel around there. Then let's go to this drop down and select the blue channel, and we'll do the same in reverse. So let's zero this and let's put 100% in there. So click OK. We've now effectively swapped the red and the blue channels. Now the next thing we're going to do is to just add some auto tone. Not normally a great fan of these auto settings, but they work a treat. So let's just go to auto tone, and you can see straight away we've got a lovely color infrared. Now we can tweak those a little bit further with another curves adjustment layer, just to eke out a bit more of the lighter tones in the foliage and just bring the sky back down there. But as a basic principle, that's how you create a color infrared using the channel mixer.